This video is a sad part about the cheat feature serie. It is mainly here to conclude the two previous parts who were basically detailing all the cheat features. I also invite you to see them if you haven't saw them, the link will be in the description. And it is here to find a way, or at least theoretically, to find a way to counter them. Perhaps it's not possible, perhaps it is. It will mostly depend of your game sense and of your game knowledge. It will depend of how good you are to counter a cheater or not. And because of that, I will just show in theory how you can counter them. For the wallhack, there is no proper way to countering it. Your main way of theoretically countering it will be at first use a third person taunt like the high five, and it will allow you to basically pick corners in a safest way. You will also be able to use a death cam and share via your teammates and the cam of the map to see where the cheater could potentially be. And then finally, you will have to use a good headset or something that will give you a good sound to be able to see where the cheater will be. It will indicate to you if he is up, down, left or right, and it will be very useful. Now for the Aimbot. Well, if the wallhack basically gives you some infos, the Aimbot can technically be countered, because you have few ways of countering it. You have two types of Aimbot, basically hit scan and projectile. For the hit scan one, you can't counter it solo, but theoretically, if you go with Vaccinator Medic or a crit screen medic, you should be able to out damage basically the cheater. But it's in theory because they will mostly use other stuff such as crit buckets and stuff like this. But we will stay in theory. So you can just go with Vaccinator Medic on you with the resistance of the cheater class, so bullet or projectile basically. They will most likely not run pyro usually when they cheat. And then, yeah, you can just crush him. For the projectile, basically, it's a different story. You have few ways of countering him. Obviously, the Vaccinator and the crit still work, but you can also go pyro to reflect the projectiles. And another thing you can do, but it's really hard to pull off basically, is to fake the movement of where you will go. And since the projectile aimbot work on predictions, you will be able to fake the movements of where you will go. To do that, you need to jump, crouch in midair, and press A or D at the same time. And it's really hard to pull off basically, so I invite you to mostly run either a Vaccinator Medic on you, or if you are confident in your Pyro Airblast skill, just go Pyro versus soldiers who cheats or stuff like this, if they don't run a shotgun. Otherwise, you can go heavy or eventually demo or soldier 2 and just shoot around corners, and it will work too basically. Okay, for the next one I will just put backtrack, fake lag and fake latency together. Even if those three functions in a different way, they have the same purpose, messing with the server side and messing with your hitbox to make them harder to hit or making you easier to hit. For the fake lag and fake latency, the idea is to make them harder to hit, and a good way to counter that is to basically go with some explosive classes such as Demo and Soldier, to use some crit screen, and eventually to go Pyro to counter them. Because of those, the fake lag or the fake latency won't be able to do much against you. Now, for the backtrack, it's another story. The idea of that feature is to use your hitbox against you, since people, when they see someone, can tend to basically go back into the spawn, or if they know it's a cheater, they will go back to hide from him. You will use those past hitbox to still manage to land some shots on you. Because they're selective, you will still manage to do a good chunk of damage. A good way to counter that is to, for example, go heavy with an shot to like negate his movements and to make him not moving forward. You can also go pyro and use a hair blast. Like this, you will basically push him away and you will let your hitbox a time to disappear from his POV. And the main way to countering a cheater who would use a backtrack will be to move forward him. You want to basically be close to him. You want to be as close as possible or to do as less movements as possible. So eventually put yourself into a corner so you can't do much about it. Or go soldier to use some AoE damage and launch him in the air. You have plenty of ways, but the idea is to always keep an eye on your movements to countering the cheater. For the other features, there is not a real way to counter them. Usually it will be going soldier with a vaccinator or crit medic and or demo with a crit medic. They are usually the best ways to counter a cheater. Eventually you can go holiday punch heavy, but it will be very risky because usually the cheater will kill you before, or you will need a vaccinator medic on you. Anyway, to conclude that, I want to remind you that if you think that someone is in game, you can check how the person play. If the person is in the enemy team, you can always do the spy trick, it always works. And most of the cheaters fall into it, even if it's quite obvious nowadays. You can also check the person profile. If you see a low amount of hours, so let's say 300 or 200, and the person got all the achievements, you can assume the person used something called a SAM, a Steam Achievements Manager, or some achievement servers, but you can't exclude the fact that the person can have used a cheat to do that too. Also, while you are on the profile of the person, you can check if the person is in some weird groups, for example, like some hackers groups or some cheater groups, like they usually have a cringe name and they're quite easy to spot. And finally, one of the best dead giveaway of someone being a cheater will be the comment section of that person. If like that person got a ton of minus rep, if you see that person is friend with some people in the past you saw cheatings, you can eventually assume that that person is a cheater too. And you can start to do a game with a person, which will be to convince enemy teams that that person is a cheater. For that, you will have to give them some proof. For example, if the person uses a crit hack, if he or she snap, and it will be always useful. The more proof you have that the person is cheating, and the better it will be. Also, for all the tips I gave, basically it's in theory, and you will most likely need someone to be with you to perform them, because in a 1v1 situation, you will most likely die against a cheater. There is no too little chance that you could win those 1v1 because your skills enter into the equation and you could be as good as you want. Versus a cheat program or cheat software, it will always be very hard to win against them. And they will always be cocky if you try to start to insult them and stuff like this because it's what they want. Anyway, I hope that video helps you. If you enjoyed it and you make it that far, please consider subscribing. It always helps me and I hope you guys will have a nice day. I'll see you in the next one.